My name is Rita Grange. I teach on level HDIP and Masters in Supply Chain Management in SETU. I also teach level 6 for CILT. That's the feeder group for the HDIP. Lecturers can support students by, I suppose what we will do is we direct their inquiries. So if it's an academic inquiry, if they're struggling with, say, referencing, we might direct them towards the PACE modules on Blackboard, or some of the many fantastic workshops that the librarians offer, because we are absolutely steeped with the quality of folks that we have in the library who are willing to reach out to students. And I would remind lifelong learners that they are students in SETU. The library is open to them. They're open on Saturdays, except on bank holiday weekends, and they're open late nights as well. So they can come and talk to librarians, get their books, look at past pupil thesis, things like that. So that's academically we can help them. If they're struggling, they need extensions or they need sort of mental health support, we can direct them to where the help is. I won't be able to be much help to them myself personally, but I can direct them towards helplines and folks who are ready, willing and able to help them. So I think that's why we might not be able to offer a lot of help personally. We're pretty good as a group at directing students to where help is.
So it sounds like I stay engaged and ask the questions and you'll be able to direct them to the right place.
Help is there.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of lifelong learners would be online learners. Have you any particular advice for people who are learning online?
Try to make the classes live, because you might have a question that you want to ask, and you'll be able to ask it live. Now, always we say follow up. At the end of a class, I'll always say it's recorded, and if you're watching the recording, if you have a question that we haven't covered, just flick me an email and I'll do my best to get back to you, and I may address it next week in class. But if it's live and you want to get it sorted immediately, it's great, it's so much better. So try and get live, but obviously we understand not everybody can. And the other bit of advice I would say, get your WhatsApp group going. Sometimes it can be a bit of a, nearly a full-time job keeping up with your WhatsApp group, but it's a great way to engage with other students. And if you have a question, you can be sure somebody else in that group will also have a question. Somebody might have the answer, but if they don't, at least you're not on your own if you want to ask that at the next lecture or to pop it in an email. Get a student rep, stay connected with your other students because they're going through the same thing. And just to remember that lecturers are people too. I went back to full-time education at the ripe old age of 40, and I in SETU, Carlow IT as was, and I graduated there and I got my master's there as well. So a lot of your lifelong lecturers are alumni, and they will remember what it's like being a student and how difficult it is to try and juggle family commitments, work commitments, and this new educational commitment. It is a push on time. This 1 year is going to be difficult, but so worth it. So worth it when you get to graduation.
Yeah. And is there, because that would be a common pitfall, I think, or a common obstacle, I suppose, for people lifelong learning, juggling all those different things. Is there any particular advice you have, or any, I suppose, obstacles that they should look out for that you could advise on?
For lifelong learners in particular, most of our lifelong learners, I suppose there's two things. The one is the academic. We have a lot of expertise in those classrooms. There's more in the class than there is at the top of the class, that's for sure. But turning those real world examples into academically robust essays, and that's difficult. And people say, well, I do this job every day and I do it really well. Absolutely, I would give you the job, but I cannot maybe give you the mark unless you support your assertions with academic references. So there's that kind of hurdle where they know the thing, but they're not getting the marks because they're not backing it up academically. That's difficult the first time round. And the other thing is time management. We have some fantastic managers in the class, and the hardest thing to manage is your personal time. And that's where we're taking your personal time. It's a bit of a grim message at the beginning of the year, but it is tough. So you need to ask for support. So like you would if you were facing any challenge, if you're the person who supports folks in your family or at work, you need to ask your colleagues to let you out a few minutes early or bang on time, whatever, to make sure that you are where you need to be at 7 o'clock when we start. You can eat your dinner in front of the PC. That's fine, as long as you've got your sound off. But you need to be listening for sure. And your family, if you have family commitments, so you might be thinking, oh, it's just Tuesday, Thursdays, and the occasional Saturday. That's not really true. There's a lot of independent learning. So Mondays and Wednesdays will definitely get roped in. And then towards the end of the year, when you're trying to submit assignments, you may lose a few weekends, full weekends. So I would say ask for support ahead. Let folks know in your life where you normally give the support that you'll need the support this time around. Just for a very intensive 10 months, you're going to need wriggle room and work, wriggle room at home, you know. So that's kind of, I would front load your support if you can. If somebody wants to put their camera on, I'm absolutely happy. It's lovely to look at a face. And I love when they speak during the classes, they come off mute, and if they have a question or whatever, keep an eye on the chat. You can always chat, or you can always email in, and if I don't address it during the week, I'll get back to it at the class.
From the teaching point of view, it's great to get that interaction, especially in an online environment. It can be hard to actually judge, you know, are people keeping up, or has anyone any questions? So I think when people do speak out, it can be really, really, really helpful, because like you said, other people probably have the same questions. So
yeah, and we're missing all those classroom cues of people looking around wondering, is everybody else confused? Or we miss the classroom cues of real on-site interaction.
And the learners miss it as well, that you have that sense of who's sitting beside you. Are they, okay, I'm not the only one. So you have to, I suppose, kind of nearly make that happen a little bit. It doesn't happen as naturally, but if you reach out, like you say, through the WhatsApp groups or putting up your hand in the class or whatever, be brave and be the first one maybe to do it, because others will surely follow.
Absolutely. If you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it, they're asking the same question in their head, they might not be as brave. So we assume, if we don't get a question, perhaps wrongly, that everybody understands it. And we assume, they're all adults here. No one's going to be afraid to put up their hand. But then, like, every year I do courses myself, I try to keep up with new tech and new learning. And I find myself in the classroom going, oh, I'm embarrassed. I might be the only one who doesn't understand that particular concept. You just have to remember, I'm here to learn. And it's their job to teach me. So I would always say at the end or the beginning, if you don't understand something, that's on me. But if you walk out of this classroom or away from this Zoom or this Blackboard lecture without asking the question, that's on you. You have to be an adult, you have to ask.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
And if I can't answer it, we're in trouble. I can always come back next week.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, well, thanks so much, Rita. That's really useful stuff. So really appreciate you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks very much.